All right, JJ, you want to get us started with Coach?
Hey, Jeff, how would you just characterize the day here?
Oh, when you're a head coach, it's beautiful outside. Everybody got to play. Everybody got to touch the ball pretty much. We came out healthy, and the score was tied 8-8. So that's perfect when you're a head coach. Now, everybody wanted to go to overtime and keep it going, but I knew we were healthy and we were going home with a tie. So we're kissing our sister and moving on.
It seemed like you were running a lot of different units out there, playing a lot of different players. Is that by design?
Oh, yeah, it was all scripted the entire time. We knew we were going to have 12 series, which is about like a game. We had done the data and the analytics on it for the score to make sure the scoring was correctly done, and it was. And, there's always stuff you can argue. Of the 12 series, 4 of them were thud. So, the offense is going to always say they wouldn't have made that tackle. The defense is going to always say, well, we would have had that sack. You know how it is. So I had to other than that, the rest of it's a blast, and we had a great time.
Okay, Jill.
Coach, it was great being out there. Great seeing you guys. I was curious if there was any point during today where it kind of hit you. We didn't get a chance to do this last year. We didn't get a chance to have all these reps and also this great spring game. Yeah,
it's a great question. Usually on Sundays, the day I write, like in my journal, in my diary, obviously we had to play today, so I kicked it up to yesterday. So I took my quiet time yesterday, and I reflected, and I looked back at my journal 1 year ago to the day and how different it all is, right? I mean, literally my words in there, I'm going to have to call my coaches, let them know about, certain issues that are going to be bad. I had to call certain players, let them know, all budget cut related. And just everything in America that I was writing down was pretty much bad news this time last year. And now I look at my journal entries, for the last 3 to 4 months, and we're all just trending in such a positive direction. And I bet none of us take that for granted ever again. I hope we don't. I know after 9/11, there were certain things I said I would never take for granted again. I probably, forgot. But I think this, like you're mentioning, the spring game and just being around each other. And, so many parents today I met for the first time in person. I recruited them, through Zoom, or their parents of players that were already here that I just haven't had a chance to ever meet, shake their hand and hug them and tell them hello. And I'm vaccinated, so nobody can worry about that. So great question. And we're so thankful to be out there.
Speaking of reflection and that adversity you went through last year, it reminded me yesterday when there was bad weather, the spring game got moved to today. It was just one more thing, like, man, can this team catch a break as you head into this next stretch and you get that next step closer to the 2021 season? Are you at a point where there is nothing that can be thrown at you or your team that you guys can't handle?
Well, another great question and point. We're pretty much creatures of habit in football. We like to make practice schedules and stick with them for a year, right? Just the whole year plan. And it's been a new day every single day. We have to adapt, improvise, adjust, overcome all the time. I do think me being a Texas high school football coach for so long, I was the head high school coach for 15 years. And when you deal with high school kids, the maturity level is different. And there's a lot of factors you cannot control as well. I think that helped me for this journey of mine for this year, because we're kind of used to making another practice schedule, making another script, making another plan for a spring game, making another, whatever it might be. Kevin Brown is huge for me on that, my director of football operations. Kevin doesn't get near enough credit for what he does for this program. He started with Larry Coker back in the days as offensive coordinator. He was the first person I needed to get on my staff when I got here. So Kevin does a whole lot more of that than even I do, and he's the one that needs to be commended for that.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, Greg.
Jeff, you mentioned it was 8-8. Out of curiosity, how did the scoring work for this?
Offense, if they scored a touchdown, they got 2 points. If they got a field goal, they got 1 point. Just like a noon hoop game. If you make a 3-pointer, you get 2. If you score inside the 3, you get 1, right? So that's how the offense worked. Every time the defense stopped us on offense, they got 1 point. And for every turnover, they got 2. So the score was 8-6 on the final drive. The only way the offense could have lost the game was to turn the ball over, and we did. So it's 8-8 tie ball game. We left it as that.
You should have knelt it. I don't know what you were thinking.
Well, I had some parents out there that wants their babies run that ball. There's no way I'm kneeling that ball. We're going to get them parents happy today. They're not going to be happy with me in the fall. They're going to be happy with me in the spring.
And then I saw at the end there, you gave everybody a culture pillar. It looked like. Kind of what was the message at the end of the day coming away from this?
Just that, we do that after every practice. Whatever the culture pillar is of the week, we'll have the kids. I teach it on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays, and then we review. I'm a teacher at heart, Greg, and so we teach on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturday. Quiz and tests on Saturday in front of their teammates. My assistant coaches echo that all during the week. This culture pillar this week was selfless, so we've been teaching on selfless the entire week. But they knew today was the final exam of the whole semester. I told all the freshmen they were off the hook. But super seniors, anybody that wore a single digit, they were on the hook. So I went to my older guys, and they crushed it like I knew they would. They can teach it better than I can, and they all knocked it out of the park.
It seemed like Frank Harris had a pretty good day. We saw him throw a couple touchdowns. What'd you make of his performance, what he brought to you guys?
All those quarterbacks, they've just gotten better. All of them played better. They've done that all year, familiarity with the offense. Coach Lunny has done a really good job coaching those kids. And I'm a big believer in that. I'm a big believer in hiring very intelligent people with high character and keeping them together, keeping us together. And that was such a huge deal from our administration that we kept our staff together. Analysts, GAs, strength staff, coaches, academics, DFO, recruiting, and you just when you hire high IQ people with character and they work together, they figure it out. They just figure it out. And we're still figuring this thing out. We don't have it figured out, but I can promise you we're working at it every day, and we're getting better every day as a staff and as players, which makes our team better.
We didn't see Josh Adkins get in the mix until kind of later in the day. What was the thinking with how you wanted to rotate the quarterbacks throughout the day?
Well, they both went with the ones, right? So the ones only went 4 times. So those kids decided they wanted to go like 2 at a time instead of alternate each time. So Frank went 2 and Josh went 2 with the ones, because the ones only had 4 series. The 2s had 4 series, so we split that. We've got 7 quarterbacks, so we had to get all those guys out there so they could play. So the 2s went 4 times, the 3s went 4 times. So we had 12 series, which is like what the average is in a game.
And then last thing for me, I noticed on the defensive end, we didn't see Jamal Ligon or Trevor Harmonson out there. Is it an injury situation with those guys, or what's the deal there?
Those guys played every rep last year of a 12-game season. They don't need any reps. Those other linebackers need to practice. Jamal and Trevor don't need to practice right now.
All right. Thanks, Coach. We'll get Frank in there next.
Thank y'all, man. God bless. Birds up.
Thank you.